Here we are going to see about the push-down automata. Push-down automata is a 7-tuple machine with Q, sigma, del, tau, Q0, Z0 and F. Q is a finite set of states and sigma is a finite set of input alphabets. Tau is a finite set of stack alphabets. Q0 is a starting state and F is a final state and del is a transition function. Z0 is the initial stack symbol. For example, to design a PDA which accepts a language a power n, b power n, where n is greater than or equal to 1. Step 1 is a problem description, which is describing the problem about what it states that. It is a problem. The number of A's should come first, followed by the number of B's. The number of A's and B's should be equal. When the input string has A, it should be pushed out into the stack. When an input receives B, then A in the stack should be popped out. When the stack has Z0 as the top of the stack and input receives a blank, it is a valid string, else it is an invalid string. Step 2 is a transition diagram. Here the Q0 is a starting state. If A comes, then push it into the stack by replacing a Z0 and moves to the state Q1. Then first A followed by the number of A's should be pushed out into the stack. Then when B comes, A at the top of the stack should be popped out. It is followed for subsequent B's also. Then when the input reaches a blank and Z0 is the top of the stack, it reaches a final state. Then the state is said to be a valid string. For example, we take a string AABB followed by a blank. Initially, Z0 to be a top of the stack. When A comes, it is pushed out into the stack, and for subsequent A's it is pushed out. When B comes, the first A is popped out, and for subsequent B's the second A's are popped out. When the string reaches a blank and the stack reaches Z0, it is said to be a valid string. Step 3 is a transition table. It contains 3 columns with state, transition and operation performed. State is what are the states involved in this operation. Transition is a function performed in this operations. Operation is the activity performed into the stack. The states are Q0, Q1, Q2 and QF. In Q0, the transition occurred are Q0 is a state and A is the input string and Z0 is the top of the stack. It moves to Q1 with A Z0 as the input string. The operation performed is push A. In Q1, 2 operations are performed. First one is Q1 with input A and A is the top of the stack. It moves to Q1 as a loop for input AA. The operation performed is push A. The second operation are if the state Q1 with the input B and A as the top of the stack, it should be popped out. Then for Q2, if the state Q2 with the input B and A as the top of the stack, it moves to Q2 by popping A. Then in Q2 with a state blank, with the state Q2 with the input blank and Z0 as the top of the stack, it reaches a final state by accepting the string. Step 4 is a validity checking. For example, take a string AABB with B as a input and transitions are del Q0 is a starting state with a string and Z0 is a top of the stack. It moves to Q1 by pushing A into the stack. Then it moves to Q1 by pushing A into the stack again. It is done for subsequent A's. Then it moves to Q2 by popping A from the stack. Then it is done for subsequent B's also. When it reaches B and Z0 as the top of the stack, it moves to the final state QF. Then the string is accepted. Thank you.